All right. Well, hey, executive directors and above, it's Dee Corchin. Meg is also here with me today for our monthly leadership call. And I was thinking today, it's November, right? November 6th. But isn't it hard to believe Awaken was just 1 month ago? Like literally, like October 6th. I don't know about you, but like it seems like an eternity ago. It's just crazy how much happens in a month. But we're going to have fun today. We're going to talk right after Awaken, which was such a great experience for all of us. Meg and I went to the Advanced Leadership Conference, which is formerly known as Sundance. And Jim Dethmer was there from the 15 Levels of Conscious Leadership. So we really felt inspired to bring back a few of the things that we thought were really powerful and impactful for us. So we'll be going over that in a few minutes. But as people are coming on, just wanted to go over a couple of quick things with us and really to make you aware of some upcoming events and then some things just to be aware of with your business. The first is we have the big conference, which means building impact and growth. It's the big summit. So this is going to be with Dr. Anderson, Dan Bell, and then some of the top leaders in our organization. This is a virtual conference, you guys, that is available to all coaches, all levels. So we really encourage you as leaders on our team to be a part of it. And then if you've got coaches on your team, they're really going to rely on you to share with them why they want to be a part of it, especially if they're a newer coach, they don't understand the value. And we know when you get to hear from Dr. Anderson himself, we see everything bigger, the vision bigger. But this is virtual. It's on December 3rd. It's from 11 to 4. But one idea, we're looking to do this in the Atlanta area in a couple of different locations, but encourage you to do it in your area, is consider doing a watch party. Consider having people over to your home. If you've got coaches in your area, consider doing it together with it, because there's just power in community and we can still be able to do things together, even though it's an actual virtual event. And then real important for us to know as executive directors and above is they have announced the date for Launch to Global, which is an in-person event, which takes place in Dallas, Texas. Super fun for all of us that went last year. So it's a qualification event, and it is April 20th to the 22nd, 2023. But as with anything, schedules fill up. So go ahead and put this on your calendar, start looking at it, start looking at your flights. More details will come out and the qualifications will. But I really am appreciative of how much advance notice they're giving on things so we can book around them. And that is for anybody who's ED or above who wants to grow. And then before we get into our topic, two quick things. Congratulations to you guys that are involved in the UTP, the Ultimate 10-Pound Challenge. You guys are crushing it. We're looking forward to our call tonight at 8 p.m. And then we launched the Drop a Turkey with over 300 people in it. Really encourage you to participate in that in our Facebook group. Like every single day, our leadership team is investing a lot of their time to put in daily posts and interactive posts, but our clients need feedback. They need us to be engaged. It's kind of wah if they respond to it and nobody acknowledges it, but we don't just want the same people responding to them. So if all of us could go in and respond to 1 or 2 a day to the comments, it would just make a big difference. And then the more activity there is, the more those posts are pushed up, the more Facebook knows it's interactive, and the more everybody will get out of the entire experience. And Meg had posted. Meg, do you want to share for a second about what we learned at Sundance about the prize pools? Because not everybody, I don't think, saw your post.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, everyone. So at Sundance this year, we were talking to a lot of the different leaders to get ideas that we could bring back to you. And one of the ideas that we heard is a lot of teams have a prize pool. So they have a pool of money that they use throughout the year for their different challenges that they do for their clients. And they do different really fun things in their Facebook groups. So they might run just like a random challenge, just one post in the Facebook group, and they would use money from this prize pot. So we posted and asked if you would consider donating into in Venmo, and we would just we've heard from a couple of you. I know Stacy Gillen and Vicky, Meredith Burford. There's a couple of people that have already given. But if you would mind, at first we said, would you be willing to give something or send something or just Venmo us? And we're asking now if you'd consider just Venmoing us and trusting us that we will do wellness credits or we're noticing shipping costs are expensive. So we're trying to be prudent in what we're doing and how we're celebrating our clients. So just wanted to ask you to consider any contribution is welcomed. So whether it's $1 or $10 or $20. So we just want to continue creating really great experiences for all of our clients and appreciate you thinking about it.
Awesome. Yeah, such a good idea. And thanks to everybody who's contributed so far. So today's topic, we wanted to just spend time on the topic of conscious leadership. And maybe just anybody pop off mute. Do you know what conscious leadership is? Have you heard about it? Have you read the book, 15 Levels of Conscious Leadership? Let's maybe pop off mute. Anybody who maybe, I would love to make this a little bit interactive today. We don't want to just be talking at you. So if you've heard the term conscious leadership, or something, you can raise your virtual hand maybe and just pop off mute. Diane.
I haven't read the book, but I do go to Dr. A's Conscious Leadership monthly sessions, and those are amazing. I mean, he is just he just really helps you think about how we think. And that makes such a difference. I mean, I've gotten so much out of it, and I send the links to the recordings to some of my clients, some of my friends, just who need some better ways to think about life in general. And it's been so great.
Yeah, so good, Diane. And you know what I forgot to say, you guys, about the Grow Global? It is about conscious leadership with Dr. A leading on that topic. So we definitely want to be a part of it. So very good. Michelle.
Yeah, hi. I've actually read the book, listened to the book because I do mostly Audible reading. It's an awesome book, lots to think about there in terms of leadership. And I also listen to Dr. Anderson's Conscious Leadership on a monthly basis, and he's often my walking companion, like when I'm listening to him. So I think, that just the whole idea of really being present in the now, staying above the line, really being conscious about what we're doing and how we're thinking. And it just leads to a lot of growth. It's helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm. We can find that Dr. Anderson, if you go to Dr. Anderson's YouTube channel, all of his conscious leadership forums, his monthly leadership forums are on Dr. A's personal website, because this is Dr. Anderson on his own that he is doing those. One more, Frank Rushana, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, so I've read the book, actually read the book twice. And the way I understand it, it's really like Michelle just said, it's really about living above the line. And although as people, we tend to live below the line. And it's just our natural human instinct to live below the line. But one of the things about being a conscious leader is recognizing when we are below the line and making the conscious effort to, with our actions, our words, our examples, to gravitate above the line and try to remain there. But again, naturally, we're gonna fall below the line, and it's just what we do as leaders to, strive more and more to be above the line.
Mm-hmm. So true.
I'm sorry, Dee, there was a couple other things too. Like in the book, it talks about, gossip and how to stay away, staying away from gossiping, how to create a culture really within your organization of integrity. Also, so there was the things that really stuck out to me is like, that was a huge thing. I've been in so many places where that becomes like this unconscious thing that people start doing. And there was a couple other things in there too that really struck me, and all of a sudden it just went out of my head. But there's so many good principles in there that, and you can see the influence that that had on Dr. Anderson when he started this organization. So many of those principles still are here and still are a real through line, and that hasn't wavered. That's really says a lot about Optavia as a company, as an organization, and that that it stayed the course and hasn't really deviated from that. That's really, I think, huge.
100%, 100%. I read the book twice. This stuff is pretty deep, so like Meg and I are not going to be like teaching it all to you because it's like so way up here, but to kind of give you an idea, because I know we've got coaches of all different levels. I picked up the book again and started reading it. And have you ever heard of the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks? Right? So the big leap, he talks about the ceiling that we have, that it's in our mind, right? That we have whatever. Well, Jim Dethmer, his mentor was Gay Hendricks, right? So a lot of what he did was learning from Gay Hendricks, and that he developed this. And then Dr. Anderson, when I started with the company, and many of you guys were with me at that time, it was Take Shape for Life. And honestly, our program was very body oriented. It was very eating habits, hydration, sleep, etc. And through time, realized, wait a minute, like this is so much about the mind and the behavioral start. And so impressive that Dr. Anderson partnered with Helen Irwin, who helped capture all that, redevelop us, rebrand us into Optavia. And then he is a continual learner. So Dr. A now partners with Jim Dethmer. They are actually co-mentors for each other in helping each other continue to grow and develop. So, and then Jim Dethmer, the author of this book, was actually at our conference. So, and he has spoken before. I know a couple of you guys had the opportunity to hear him. So the true definition of conscious leadership is, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's great, Beth. Thank you. Is that conscious leadership is the process by which a leader becomes radically responsible, self-aware, and focuses on building a culture of we rather than a culture of me. And just like some of you guys said, it's really choosing and recognizing to be what we call above the line, which we're going to talk a little bit more about today, which is being curious, being in a creative mindset, versus below the line, which is this is happening to me and I am a victim. Right? There's not enough clients. Everybody's canceling. Everybody, we can just, the stories could go on and on in our mind, but really taking full responsibility and accepting what is without blame or criticism. And y'all, that is not easy. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence and really realizing, and it's hard to take that step back and say, okay, how could this be happening for me and not be happening to me, right? How could I be learning from this? And it's painful. It is a journey. And as it was stated, as many of us and most of us were living below the line most of the time. And one of the number one things we've learned is to call somebody out for being below the line, like a spouse or something, is way below the line, right? Like that's not our responsibility, but it is hard. I mean, I've been working on this stuff for a long time, and I mean, I can catch myself, but there's a huge piece of this in being aware of it and then being able to catch yourself. So we've got some documents here, and we started a Google Doc. I'm going to hope that this works. And if it doesn't, Meg, maybe you can. Meg, could you please post the link to the Google Drive? We've got a lot of the documents available that come right from the Conscious Leadership Forum, but I'm going to share with you there is a document that lists all 15 of the leadership principles. We're going to briefly go over 3 of them today and then go through an exercise. So give me 1 second here. And let's see. Can you guys see this? You may not be able to read it. It might be a little bit hard to read. So we're going to read them out loud to you. But the first one, the first principle of conscious leadership is, I commit to taking full responsibility for the circumstances of my life and my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. I commit to supporting others to take full responsibility for their lives. Now that is the above the line approach. A below the line, which really sounds painful when you hear it, below the line would be, I commit to blaming others and myself for what is wrong in the world. I commit to being a victim, a villain, or a hero, and take more or less than 100% responsibility. That sounds so unattractive, doesn't it? Like when you say it out loud. So the first one is really agreeing to take full responsibility. Meg, do you want to hit number 2?
Absolutely. And Dee, I'm going to start screen sharing from my end. I think it'll be easier to see,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah, that's so much better. Cool.
All right. Commitment number 2, I commit to growing in self-awareness. I commit to regarding every interaction as an opportunity to learn. I commit to curiosity as a path to rapid learning, versus I commit to being right and to seeing the situation as something that is happening to me. I commit to being defensive, especially when I'm certain that I'm right. Oh, I've never said that before, but it's so true. I want to be the person that commits to growing in self-awareness, the person that sees every interaction as an opportunity to learn and from a place of curiosity.
All right. And the last one we're going to talk about today is I commit to feeling my feelings all the way through to completion. They come, I locate them in my body, and then I move, breathe, and vocalize them so they can release all the way through. The opposite of that is I commit to resisting, judging, and apologizing for my feelings. I repress, avoid, and withhold them. And honestly, this has been something I have personally been working on because I am really good at stuffing emotions down and barreling through. But the reality is they ooze out no matter what, right? They usually are going to come out in a very unhealthy way if we don't process them. And honestly, I've been going through some stuff in my personal life that has generated some anger for me, like some feelings I'm really not used to expressing in a healthy way. But what I was also told was name it. Like name it, like I am really angry about, or I am really angry at something or someone. Name it, but then actually then let it go. Like feel the anger, identify it, and let it go. As opposed to if we don't do that, then the thoughts can be ruminating over and over again in our head. So Meg, maybe you can stop screen share, and would love to hear from at least maybe 2 people about what does any of this mean to you? Or maybe an example of you can see when you handle things one way versus another. Let's use the hand feature, maybe somebody who hasn't spoken yet.
And show us how this shows up for you. It might be in your business. It might be attracting clients or coaches or working with them. And to just remind you, the first one was I commit to taking full responsibility for the circumstances of my life. The second one was I commit to growing in self-awareness and commit to every interaction being an opportunity to learn. And the third one is I commit to feeling my feelings all the way to completion. So where does that show up for you? Go for it, Bonnie.
You can go ahead, Bonnie, and then Connie.
Okay. I've listened to this book as an audio, and I got so excited about it. I shared it with my team at work, and they all got excited about it too. I think the one that I have gotten pretty good at is I commit to growing in self-awareness. I commit to regarding every interaction as an opportunity to learn. And I commit to curiosity as a path to rapid learning. Self-referral, self-inquiry. I'm always asking myself, what is my part in this? And I think I know that a lot of the work that I experience in the Habit Finder Shift program took me a long way in in asking myself, what is my part here and what do I need to learn? The one that I am also working on quite a lot, Dee, is number 3, which is feeling my feelings, seeing them to completion, and not letting them throw me off track. You know, my big area for growth is becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so if I have a lot of uncomfortable feelings, when I feel overwhelmed, when I feel stressed, you know, I know I'm creating that, but yet the feelings come, and it's a very old and ineffective pattern.
Yes,
Mhm.
Bonnie, thank you so much for sharing that. And it comes to mind like our clients too, right? Like they aren't feeling their feelings. They're feeling overwhelmed, so they're going for the chocolate or whatever. So this can be used as we coach clients as well. Thank you, Bonnie. All right, Connie.
Yeah, this is it's about the number 3 for me, feeling the feelings and being committed to them, because they do lodge in my body. I had a really long conversation with someone that does energy healing, not like around noon today, because my shoulder is hurting pretty bad. And what I've realized that I've picked up other responsibilities for people that are not mine. And for me, it's more about release and let go, release and let go, because the way it shows up in my business is when I'm carrying extra, what feel like a cloak of burdens that are pretty heavy for people, mostly in my family and situations right now, that it drains my energy. And therefore it is, I'm not like that attraction for clients. And it's like, even thinking about helping somebody else, it's like, oh no, not that. And it's gotten painful enough in my body that it's time to feel the feelings that were there. And so I'm working with someone on it. I actually hire outside help to do body energy release work because it gets stuck in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So feeling it all the way through, because sometimes just talking it out or crying it out or stomping it out and kicking some rocks. I mean, that's not acting like a 3-year-old. Doesn't move it enough for me because it's gotten lodged there for a while. So
Yeah, that is something. And Connie, I know that that's something you've been aware of and worked on. You've mentioned that on calls before about identifying and feeling feelings within the body. But that is something I'm learning more about, is really how those things do get stored within. And sometimes there's a trauma or a pain within, and we're not even sure what it is, you know, but it is showing up. So, and that is, very brave. And I'm glad you shared about that, right? We can be going through the motions and showing up on social media and doing all our actions. But if in our internal brain, we're thinking, I can't take on another thing, the energy we're putting out is, please don't say yes. Please don't say yes. Please don't say yes. Even though we're saying we want it because we think we need it, but yet, you know, the body and the mind is saying, I can't do it. And so there's these just opposing forces. So thanks for your honesty with that. Okay. One more, Debbie.
The one that really speaks to me is where he says, I commit to feeling my feelings all the way through to completion. There's so much truth to that. I think we don't even recognize that it's true. Like, for example, when my daughter first started having her panic attacks and stuff and was in counseling, one of the things that an exercise she had to do, it was called riding the wave. And it was when you feel that anxiety coming up, you know, just know that those feelings, they come up, they reach a crest, and then they subside, that's the normal flow of these feelings. And it turns out that that's the normal flow for all of these feelings. So when you're angry, or when you're wanting to eat a brownie, or when you're like all these things, it's like, if you just allow it to crest and just write it and kind of witness it from the observer's chair, to borrow another book, like to let it crest and then know that it's going to fall, versus fighting it. And then you're constantly in this little place where it's not quite crested, but it's not quite. And so you're perpetuating your own misery without even meaning to. And so I think just knowing that like, don't open the door, don't open the door, like you're yelling at the lady on the movie, like you're so scared, you're like, oh, so you're fighting it, but that means you stuck right there, versus let her open the door, the loud music, and then the scene's over, like just go through it and then you can be past it. So I think, I don't know, that's just the thing. For me, that was huge.
Mhm. And that's so much of what, Dr. Anderson with Stop, Challenge, and Choose. If you're helping a client work through Stop, Challenge, and Choose, right? They're like, oh, I'm an emotional eater or whatever. I mean, really what he's trying to help us do and help our clients do with Stop, Challenge, and Choose is, all right, stop. All right, what is happening right now? Like, what am I feeling? Right? So we can slow it down and actually identify the feeling so we can feel it all the way through, right? And then ask ourselves those questions. Okay, I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling bored, whatever it might be. And then the question becomes, the way I coach my clients through it is, okay, well, if I continue to go for the chocolate every time I feel stressed, bored, you know what I mean? Is that going to bring me closer or further to my goals? But the biggest part of all of that, I think, is in the stop and the challenge of like, what is happening here, right? Whereas I think sometimes the Stop, Challenge, Choose is our clients are getting stuck and trying to like make the good choice or the bad choice or the good choice or the bad choice. But really it's back up a step. What is even leading us to want to make those choices? So we're going to watch a short video, and then Meg is going to take it from there just to kind of take the topic a little bit deeper and then actually walk us through an exercise. And we did watch this on a team time the other day, but there is so much value in it. So give me 1 second here. Oops, let me back out of this for a second. Oh, MJ. Oh, you've got it. Okay, cool. We don't have the sound.
To themselves as they ask the question, where am I? We offer this tool, a line, a simple black line. At any moment, all leaders and all people are either above the line or below the line. Our location describes how we're being with what is occurring in our life right now. If we're above the line, we are open, curious, and committed to learning. If we are below the line, we are closed, defensive, and committed to being right. Stop right now and simply ask yourself, where am I? In this now moment, am I above the line or below the line? Typically, when people are below the line, they believe certain things about the world. For example, they believe there is not enough. It could be that there's not enough money or time or space or energy or love. People below the line also believe that their story about the situation is right. People below the line also believe that there is a threat out there. Something or someone is threatening their desire for approval, control, or security. And people below the line see the situation as serious. The deeper below the line they are, the more serious things look. People below the line tend to behave certain ways as well. They tend to cling to an opinion, find fault and blame, gossip, explain, rationalize and justify, get overwhelmed, and avoid conflict or pursue conflict for the sake of winning. When people are above the line, they believe that learning and growing are more important than being right. They believe that all people and circumstances are their allies, here for their growth. They believe that from a distance, almost everything is funny. People above the line live in curiosity, listen deeply, speak unarguably, question all their beliefs, and live a life of play. Now, knowing what you know about being above or below the line, where are you? One thing to know as you consider this question. We are hardwired to go below the line. Literally, our brain is programmed to perceive threat. And when it does, a chemical cocktail courses through our veins, and we go below the line. This reaction was designed to help us survive in the presence of a real threat to our physical survival. An issue for modern-day leaders is that often our brains can't tell the difference between a threat to our physical survival and a threat to our ego or identity. We react and get defensive when we experience a threat to our ego. So in many ways, being below the line is natural and normal. But when we are below the line, we're not in a state, literally brain state, of high creativity, collaboration, innovation, and relational connection. We're simply trying to survive. Leaders today can't thrive if they're in survival mode. So the first activity of conscious leadership is location, location, location. In this now moment, where am I? Telling ourselves and others the truth about our current location begins the great conversation.
All right. So one of the big reasons why we wanted to talk about
So
this
previously, when we were
Oh.
using spreadsheets, we were
is,
heavily
and
meeting
it's still
dependent.
trying to
It
teach
took
us things over here.
hours to update our
This
tasks
shows
and our
up in
projects, but
our
it's crazy.
business a lot, right? And so we wanted to take a minute and really show you above and below the line. And we created, or didn't create, but we're going to share a document with you. It's in the Google Drive where you can walk yourself through this, right? And do it with your coach, do it with clients, people you're coaching. So here we have the line, right? And below the line, we have things happening to me. And then above the line, things happening by me, right? We're accepting, we're trusting, we're being curious. Down here, we're defensive, we're reactive. We're saying things like, they should be doing this. They just didn't give it a chance, right? They can't lose weight without our program. I'm right, they're wrong, right? It's hard, I'm trying, it's not my fault. They didn't give it the full 4 days. I'm confused. The truth is, they always do this or never do that. They never fill out their map. You're not listening to me. It's no use. I give up. It's my way or the highway. They just don't get it. Also, the behaviors that you have if you're below the line, you hold your breath, you fight, you flee, you freeze, you faint. You see others as needing help, but you don't see yourself needing help. You're finding fault and blame. You're clinging to an opinion or arguing, you're rationalizing, you're gossiping. And y'all, sometimes we gossip about ourselves and we say it's okay because we're gossiping about ourselves, and it's not. We get overwhelmed, we suppress our emotions, we use distractions to relieve our pain, like food and other things. We get other people to affirm our beliefs, like I'm right, they're wrong, right? I know I'm not alone in that, right? We avoid conflict. We're judgmental. We believe our story about the situation is true. We believe there is a right way and a wrong way. I mean, it is just so I want you to just look and you probably already know what's above the line when we're asking, how can this be for me? What can I learn from this? What else can be true? We're breathing. We're not taking things so seriously. So this is just an incredible tool that we spent literally an entire weekend going through, and it was incredibly impactful personally in my marriage, in my family relationships, and my business. I'm doing this all over the place, but we wanted to take it a step further. I'm a little scared right now, but I want to take it a step further because there was a tool that they gave us that has been incredibly helpful in walking somebody through the conscious leadership process and realizing where we're at and moving them to a better situation or a better endpoint. So I would love to ask for somebody out there who would be willing to walk through the conscious leadership process with me. So if you would share something with us, and I would like to request that it's something with a little bit of meat on the bone, right? So something real, maybe about your business, maybe about a situation with a coach. We'll call her Barb, I don't know, but something that has a little bit of meat to it. Who would be willing to walk through this process with me?
I can, if you want.
Okay, Michelle, awesome. And I'm going to put in the chat all of the information that we've been showing. Okay, so, and I'm going to try to spotlight both of us. Can everybody see the two of us?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Michelle, and feel free to use any other person's name if you'd like. But what I want you to do is tell me your biggest complaint about something. And I want you to go below the line. I want you to just let me have it. There is no judgment. Just let me have it for 2 minutes. Tell me what your biggest complaint about something related to your business is. And I'm going to set a timer for you.
Okay. So I just have these coaches, right, that just won't do anything. They don't show up. They don't come to meetings. They complain about everything. They, they just, think that clients are going to fall out of the sky. And it's just really frustrating. It's really frustrating that they, just won't plug in, they won't do the stuff. And, I try to help them and then they blame me because their business isn't where they want it to be. They don't take responsibility for themselves, and it's just really frustrating for me. I'm trying to think, like and both of these coaches that I'm thinking about just decided that they're not going to be coaches anymore but not only they decided not to to renew their coach contracts, but they also are taking their people with them. Right. So instead of supporting them to stay with the program, they're actually encouraging them just to like not continue. So it's just been really, hard.
Yeah. Keep going. You're doing great. Oh, God, stinks.
I dig down deeper.
30 seconds left. Go below the
sorry.
line.
Huh? Really below the line?
Really, people?
Yeah, I just think it stinks, they just I don't know, they just, I don't know, I can't think of anything else how to go any deeper below the line. I think I'm pretty below the line right now, like really low. So I don't know.
Well, you did great. Your timer's going off. So awesome. Awesome job. All right. By the way, you are not alone. Blink if you have ever had any of those thoughts, and everybody's going to blink. So thank you for being brave, Michelle, and sharing that with all of us. Okay. So just you and me here, not any of these friends with us.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. As you think about this issue with these coaches that just aren't doing anything and they're taking people away and all this stuff, where are you? Are you above the line or are you below the line?
Well, initially, when I first learned that that this was happening, like literally yesterday and today, in the last few days, my gut reaction was extremely defensive. Right. I was extremely hurt, very defensive and scared, like what the heck is going to happen to my business? And so I had to really just step back and take feel the feelings, like how am I really feeling about this? And not react to it when they originally were telling me these things, and just ask them questions. So it was really a kind of a mix of things, like my gut reaction wanting to be to almost lash out and say, hey, like if you were taking responsibility for yourself, if you were like engaged, if you were showing up to trainings, maybe you wouldn't have such a revolving door of clients and making it so hard on yourself. And then at the same time, I just,
Thank you.
have to say, okay, but this is where they're at.
Yeah. And
This is
you're
where
a
they're
conscious leader, but I'm just going to encourage you to be where you're at right now and kind of go with us for purposes of this, right? So when
Okay.
you're just telling us like, oh, they're not showing up to meetings, where
Yeah.
were you? Above the line, below the line?
I was definitely below the line originally, like I was really struggling.
Yeah. So typically when we're below the line, we are because we're getting some sort of payoff, right?
Mhm.
We're getting some benefit from staying below the line. So what benefit did you get? You got to avoid core feelings of fear.
Yeah, I got to feel like a little empowered, like a little like validating my own feelings of, that I had a right to be angry. I had a right to feel this way. I had a right to, lash out at them in my mind anyway, like I have a right here to like feel like I could like attack you a little bit because I felt attacked myself,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's one of the payoffs. I get to be right about something.
Yeah.
Other payoff is it gives me something to do or a compelling story to tell. Sounds like that might be it too. I wonder if it could be one of these. I get to avoid taking responsibility for my own issues. Any of that? Or I get to stay in the familiar and I get to avoid the unknown. Any of that?
What was the first one?
Oh, I'm going all over the place, but I would say
Okay,
I get to avoid taking responsibility for my issues.
right. Yeah, there might have been some of that in there, like not taking you know,
I get
could I
to
have done a better job with them? I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what, that's when I have to take a step back and really think through, okay, could I have been a better coach? What did I do? You know, I know it's a two-way street. You know, every relationship is a two-way street. So I can't be a hero coach, but I can also take responsibility for being a more knowledgeable coach.
Yeah.
You know, what maybe could I have done differently? And at the same time, I also know that I can't do it for them. I can't be successful for them. I can't run the business for them. They have to be engaged in that. But I could be a better support if I'm not, maybe I wasn't doing something. So it's kind of like a self, you know, I'm looking at, you know, could I have done something differently? But I'm always asking, is that even the right question to ask?
Yeah.
Right? What, I don't know.
Yeah. And certainly when we're avoiding that responsibility, right? Or when we're choosing to be below the line, rightfully so, right? Like, if we're human, we're always going to go below the line. We are getting to avoid taking responsibility, right? We get to be right about the story we're telling. Sometimes we get enlivened by the adrenaline, right? I'm right, they're wrong. We get to avoid our core feelings of being scared about our business,
Yeah.
being disappointed, being angry. Okay, so Michelle, let me just ask you this, and thank you for being so transparent. Can you accept yourself for being just where you are? Can you accept yourself for being just scared and being in a threatened state related to these coaches?
Yes, but it's just not a very comfortable place. It's not comfortable to feel afraid. It's not comfortable to, you know, because I know that the truth is that they're not the only people on the earth. You know what I mean? Like, there are other people out there. But in the moment of it, because you've poured a year or more of yourself into people or trying to help them, it just feels like, is it going to be always like this? Is it always going to feel like this? Is it going to be like this every renewal season? You know what I mean? Every month when somebody has to renew, or
so when you say it's uncomfortable, where are you feeling it in your body? Where's that showing up?
it feels like those awful butterflies in your stomach. You know, you get that really awful butterfly, anxious feeling, you know, of like, oh, what's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen to my front line? Okay, now my depth is going away on these two legs. Okay, one, you know, was a senior coach. Okay, there goes Fibic, right? There goes this right down the tubes. Okay, how am I going to make this up? You know what I mean? Like, that's initially my thinking, you know, honestly, when I got this news in the last day or two. So, and then trying to think, okay, what's the truth in this? The truth is I can build again. The truth is I can move forward. I can, you know, make the next steps.
And can you love and accept yourself for being scared and being in a threatened state?
I want to say yes, but that's not easy to love and accept myself when I'm feeling that vulnerable. I mean, it's not a place I want to sit for very long. Let me just say,
Do
you know,
it takes 90 seconds to feel a feeling to completion.
mhm.
That uncomfortable butterflies in your stomach feeling, if you'll just allow yourself to sit in it, if we had time, we do it today, but for 90 seconds, that would allow you to move through the feelings. But it sounds like you are saying you can accept and love yourself for being in a threatened state. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sit in that. I don't want to allow myself. I know that I will be okay. right? I know that I am enough.
Yeah, you are.
I just, in the moment, it feels a little scary when those things happen,
It does.
but
So-
that I know I can, move on from there.
Yeah. So Michelle, let me ask you this. So now that you've said you can accept yourself for being in a threatened state, are you willing to shift?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
You willing to end
If
all
I'm
blame?
not willing to shift, I don't know. What's
it has to be a
what's the
decision, right?
alternative, Meg? Huh?
Right? So are you willing to end all blame related to this issue?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. Are you willing to let go of being right about if they were just plugged in, it wouldn't be like this? Or if they did this, are you willing to let go of being right about that?
That's the hard one, isn't it? About, I think so.
Yeah.
Because I would say yes, in order to move through, you have to let go of being right. You really do, because it's not going to fix the situation. I can be right all day long,
Yeah.
right? Or I could be wrong all day long, and it's not going to fix it.
Yeah. Are you willing to see that the opposite of your story is true?
So explain that to me a little bit.
The opposite of the story that you're telling, are you willing to see that that could be true?
So if I'm not right, that means I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I could be wrong. Absolutely.
Okay. I love that. Are you willing to let go of taking this issue so seriously?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you willing to shift from feeling entitled to appreciating the issue? Like, I'm entitled to these feelings versus,
All
hey,
right.
this is teaching me something. I
Yeah.
appreciate this lesson.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you willing to clean up your broken agreements related to this issue?
Yeah.
Are you willing to end all gossip about the issue?
Yep.
Are you willing to feel all of your feelings, sadness, anger, fear related to the issue?
Yeah.
Okay. So how will you shift? What will your measurable action be?
I'm not sure I'm not sure what the next steps would be, except like what I've done so far is I've taken a step back. I've allowed myself to release the feelings of anger and all that stuff. And like this afternoon, I took some time just to reflect and to, to wish them well, to keep the door open, to cry,
Yeah.
do all the stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And had you have said no, you weren't ready to shift, we would have walked you through saying, my name is Michelle, and I am committed to my coaches and, whatever you want to be committed to, like the fact that they are wrong, that they just weren't plugged in, that they just, whatever, all the drama.
Yeah.
So, because we're either going to be committed to that, or we're going to be committed to shifting, right? So it's going to be one or the other.
Yeah, you can't sit in both places.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you, Michelle, for walking through this issue in such a public way. I hope it served. The other thing is, if somebody also isn't willing to shift, we go back to setting that timer for 2 minutes. And we really find out there means there's some other payoff they need to get. There's some other drama, or there's some other below the line that needs to come out of their system. And I did this with another coach this morning. The first one kind of fell flat, but it was because all of the meat on the bone was stuck inside of her, and she wasn't ready to let it out. But when she let it out, it's like a floodgate. So, thank you, Michelle. And Dee, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And like Meg said, and somebody asked, can you get the document? We've started this Google resource, the Google Drive resource, and encourage you to practice it first with yourself. I think that we're probably are both, ourselves are the biggest place. And then maybe, with a safer, with your coaches, and then start to play with it a little bit with your clients. Realize that not, you guys are leaders in the company. Not everybody is operating and thinking at the level. We are all growing through this. So sometimes you might present this or start trying to challenge somebody like, hey, could the opposite of this be true? And it's like, whoop, they don't get it, right? Like they're so not ready to even go there yet. And like Meg said, it's very often that we are so stuck in our thinking, but this may help you because so many of us, we tell ourselves stories, and our clients are telling themselves stories and whatever, and we just get stuck in these thought patterns. So we're going to continue with this, guys. We think for the next couple of months on our monthly, we're going to go a little bit deeper with this. Put like a 2 in the chat if it's helpful to you to start thinking bigger, broader like this to be able to help yourself and others move forward. Awesome. Awesome. As we're wrapping up, just 2 real important things I want to share with you that to lead with yourselves and your mindset around it, and then also with your coaches to help them walk through it. The first is just a reminder that our price increase happens this week on Wednesday. My personal choices is that there is really no reason to go running to our clients and saying, hey, don't forget the price increases, Wednesday. Like they were notified via an email, etc. But the one piece I think should, in my opinion, get some attention is the fact that the Premier guidelines changed. And the Premier guidelines now for somebody that were used to be a minimum order of 150, it's now an order of 175 or more to get that reduced shipping. And the reduced shipping went from $5 to $7. And then the same thing for the higher level, it went from 250 to 300 minimum order to get the free shipping. So that being said, Debbie, we can include the drive when I post the recording for this. You may need to call you can pull your projected Premier report and look at your orders that are coming up, right? That are coming up because there are many people that are used to just ordering 150. A lot of your coaches might just be ordering minimum orders, 150, whatever. So that quick reminder, like, hey, you might want to add a box to this so you don't get stuck with the higher shipping is going to help them. All right. So that would be that. And the other thing is just a reminder around compliance. As Optavia continues to grow, we are just continually watched by the Federal Trade Commission, et cetera. So compliance, you may have possibly received a notice from compliance or whatever, but the real important thing is that we are on social media following the guidelines that they have set forth for us. And that is for any kind of weight loss claims, for any kind of income or lifestyle claims, to make sure we're falling within the parameters, right? That we can only claim weight loss, right? We can't claim, there's a lot of things we cannot claim. And if you have any questions around it, really, they've put together new videos for us, all sorts of stuff. And every Monday in the Monday email, they have a different feature of the week that they talk about, but you can just go to Coach Answers Compliance, just put that in your search engine. And it is worth the time to look at it because it's not just a slap on the wrist. It might be a slap on the wrist the first time, but and an ask for correction, but they are for our protection watching us. So if I see something, I'm trying to gently, hey, if I think it might need a disclaimer, gently let people know, just know that we're all doing this out of protection and encourage you to, when in doubt, use a disclaimer. When in doubt, either don't post it or use a disclaimer. So any questions around that as we're wrapping up?
Hey, Dee, I was going to say, I don't think in the email they addressed the shipping costs, did they? To the clients? I don't think that was even in the email, right?
They might not have because a lot of us missed it the first time. And then I saw it in the leadership email. So that would be another reason. Again, that's a great thing, Julie, to point out is to pull that because the projected Premier now will start to show, you can see your amounts and help them walk them through that so that they're successful. I think if we can prevent a problem, that would be good because shipping costs are high. So Debbie, so it is for reduced shipping the price increase, the minimum order from 150 to 175 and the shipping is now will be $7 as of the 9th instead of $5. And then to get free shipping, instead of it being a minimum order of 250 or higher, it's a minimum order of 300 or higher for the free shipping.
That was
All
in-
right. Well,
That was in
guys,
our
look-
coach email.
What's
That was,
that?
that was in the coach like heads up email, but I'm
Okay.
almost positive it wasn't in the client email that went out to clients.
That's really good to know. I'll have to do a little research on that this afternoon. Good. So it's a big day. Mondays are a big day, the first Monday, because we have this leadership call. Encourage you to be on team time tonight. We are going to talk about building our businesses outside social media. We've got some great people speaking about things that are working for them. We're also going to celebrate our October activities in a new way. And then right after that will be our ultimate 10-pound. Those of you guys participating, we'll just roll right into the ultimate 10-pound meeting. So thank you guys for all that you are doing. And thank you, Meg, for helping to lead this and for everybody who participated with us. So we'll see you next time. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you at 7:28 tonight. Bye.